Hey, this is Lee Gerstmann. How you doing? I'm just gonna be kicking back and doing some talking. Now, I'm not the most political guy in the world, and the amount of news that I follow on a day-to-day basis is about the amount of vinegar that I gulp on a monthly basis, which is not much. Maybe I purposefully drink 2 tablespoons of vinegar a month. And I purposefully maybe read one or two news articles every 6 months. So I'm not really that news interested. And I get a lot of what I know about the news from things that I just happen to not be able to avoid. So when it comes to stuff about presidencies and people running for office, I get my source from wherever I happen to get it, which could be friends or Facebook or whatnot. But even though I don't follow the news that much, I mean, there is no denying the publicity of someone like Donald Trump. You know, everybody knows about him. And whether you like him or dislike him, he's a handsome guy who's had good-looking women as wives, and even if his relationships with them didn't last, he at least is someone who can say he's been around. And he is rich, and he's a celebrity, and he's also running for president. Now, as to whether or not I am for or against him becoming president, I really have to say that the way this country is, I really can't say who I think would be better or worse, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the country, and no matter who becomes president, there's going to be some things that are being taken care of and some things that are not. I don't think it's a matter of cut and dry, someone's going to be best. I think that a lot of people have an idea or an attitude that someone's going to be the best, and that's fine, you know? Just like everyone has their idea of who God is or what deity that they want to worship, that's fine. This is a country of all sorts of people who have different ideas. But the point of this is not necessarily to talk about whether or not Donald Trump is right or wrong for president. This is just going to be my opinion on maybe why he's running. And getting rid of any of the publicity or the myths or anything that people are talking about him. I'm going to say point blank that I think he's running because he's a businessman who likes to see business situations work. And I think that he feels, and he would be correct in this, that the way that a lot of the people in the Oval Office, the political people behind the scenes surrounding the president, they don't necessarily handle business well. I mean, we've got a lot of money in debt, trillions. And so it's not like we're going to be able to pay that off soon. And I'll also get into a little bit of another aspect of the debt. But first off, I would say, I think that Donald Trump is thinking he would like to see his businesses work successfully. And a good way to have a business work successfully is to have it in a country whose business sense is working successfully. So he may be attributing his time as a president into fixing up the business of our country. And that does not necessarily mean that he will be ignoring other aspects of what needs to be done in the country. It just means that just like the music business involves people who are being creative and writing songs, the business of America is to handle what's going on in the country. And so people don't necessarily want to think of their country as a business. They want to think of it as their home. And when they think about issues involving finances or personal situations in their lives, they don't always look at the business aspect. They always kind of think that there's something other than just business going on in the country. But when you get that attitude, then you get a country that's spending tons and tons of money that they're borrowing, and they can't necessarily afford to pay back what they borrowed. Now, I personally think that a lot of the money that we spend on the military is way too much. Do I think we need a military? Well, yeah, we do need a military, just like we need policemen, just like we need guards in hotels to guard us so that people just can't walk up the street and knock on your door and come in and bug you. You know, we do need that type of enforcement. I'm not saying that we need to spend as much money as we do in the military. I think that there's way too much money being spent on the military. And what I mean is, I think that money should be evened out more so that the military gets some, but also different things like welfare and schools and other aspects of what goes on in America gets money. So I think that if money is being proportionately handed out on an even scale, then we will get more of an even keel as far as how the government is concerned. And I don't know what Donald Trump's policy is on spending, but I would say he might look into every aspect of what needs fixing. And he may decide to look at it from a business viewpoint. And so I'm not saying that he could solve the debt, but I'm saying that I think that his main aspect is he's not necessarily looking to be considered the chief of America. He's looking forward to being considered the financial wizard that can help try to solve some of the money problems that we have. So I'm not saying he will be able to do that, but I'm saying that's why I think he's running. I think that that's his plan. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there is one surefire way to get rid of the debt. And it's as easy as blinking your eyes. It's the people and the corporations who you are indebted to. They just decide, okay, you're no longer in debt with us. They just stop. And they say, okay, you're free and clear. Now, of course, on a business level, that's not necessarily going to make sense to them. Because even if America can't pay back all of what they owe to these people, they at least, if America can pay back some of it, then that's some money back in their organizations and their pockets. And to say that America is free and clear of the debt, then that means that they're not going to get any more money. But on the other hand, if they were to make America free and clear of debt, then maybe the money that they do get from people who buy their products or whatever, maybe the money might be worth more again because there's no longer inflation or debt. It's going to be a lot more wealth to each dollar. A dollar's now going to be like $10 as opposed to it being like 10 cents. But these are just thoughts that I've had. When it comes to a candidate who I want, well, I'll leave that for another time. But I do think that Donald Trump is thinking in terms of how can he fix the country from a business sense. So if you're someone who's looking for someone who fits the bill of president like George Washington or Abraham Lincoln, who had a personality that's like a president, maybe he doesn't come off like that. Maybe he comes off more like a businessman. But that's what he is, and I think that if he becomes president, that's the way he's going to view his time in the office. Well, if you have any comments, feel free to let me know. All right, well, take care, and thanks for listening. Bye-bye.